Day 2 with Maurice Williams. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. Yesterday we were with Maurice Williams. We're back today with Maurice Williams. Maurice, thanks so much for getting back in.
My pleasure.
Staying in back-to-back days. I know you want to get back to Charlotte sometime.
My pleasure.
This is really a treat.
Sure.
And of course, yesterday we wrapped up on you and the guys just getting into the professional arena with the tours of all the colleges, starting there at USC after winning that talent contest at Lancaster High, and the guys seeing you there in the audience. How did your family back there in Lancaster feel about you now getting into the professional arena and going to be gone all the time?
Well, when we first started, they felt good about it. Mm-hmm. Mother did, and of course my aunt did. Mm-hmm. I had first-hand approval from my family, right. Mother and my aunt, and of course Uncle Coy. Mm-hmm. He was driving us around to some of these jobs because I didn't have any license. I couldn't drive no car. But he would do it for us. He would take us to a lot of the jobs. And then later on, my brother-in-law, Frank Harris, became my manager. Mm-hmm. And he was driving us around, Mm-hmm. And so the family felt real good about it. They encouraged me. This is why I stayed in it, because I had the backing of my family.
Speaking of a drive, I think it was about a year, it was last year when we were together in Florence, that we talked about a drive that somebody couldn't make. They couldn't leave Lancaster to head to perform or originally record a song. What was that story, Maurice?
That was William Massey.
Yes, that's right.
When we were going to Nashville in 56. Whoa, yes. 56, when we first went to Nashville, the winter of 56, it was December. And his mother said, well, you can't go. You guys don't know what you're doing. They're going to go over the mountains in this car. They don't have a car. Willie Jones had a car. He had an old Chrysler, of course. And all the tires we had 4 slick tires. And we didn't have a spare. Of course, she didn't know this. We was taking our chances going to Nashville to make a record,
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, she says, no, William Bunchy Masses, mm-hmm. we call him, my friend. And she wouldn't let him go to Nashville, and I had wrote Little Darling for him to sing.
For him to sing,
yes.
Right.
And, gosh, he couldn't go, so we said, well, we're going to go anyway. And we went anyway to Nashville. And
with 4 slick tires, that's when prayer really came in.
4 slick tires.
You almost been praying the whole way, Maurice.
We were. We were indeed.
Yeah.
And gosh, I mean, we prayed all the way over there. And there was no such thing as interstate. This is when you would go over the mountain. You would actually go over the mountain. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Back in 56.
Oh, my God.
And we did it. Gosh, and I was like 16. Woo. Going over the mountain. And we prayed. We prayed all the way there, man. Mm-hmm.
This was to record Little Darling for the first time?
Yes.
Was this one of the first recordings? Was this your first recording?
Very first recording.
No.
Very first recording. And we went over there and we auditioned. Nothing was definite. But we had a meeting, an audition with Ernie Young, mm-hmm. president of Excello Nashville Records. Mm-hmm. That's all we really needed.
Yeah.
We said we just want to audition, and hopefully we will get to make a record. This is where we spoke in those days. Mm-hmm. So we did that on the strength of that, and God Almighty. Hey, and we had $37 and some change between the 4 of us.
No way. Now going over the mountain, you knew who had you determined, since William wasn't with you, that you were going to have to sing?
Nope.
who'd you think was going to sing it as you were driving
Well,
over?
we had other songs.
Oh, yeah.
We had other songs that other guys would sing them.
Right.
You know, like Willie Jones, we had Norman Wade, Earl Gainey, and myself. And so we auditioned those songs. I was singing a lot of them. Well, I sing just about all of them, to tell you the truth.
Right.
But I wasn't prepared to sing Little Darling. We were auditioning with a lot of stuff that we had heard on the radio, and just to get in there, you know.
Yeah.
A few songs that I wrote, we did that. We auditioned those too. And when we finish, Ernie Young says, "I like those." He said, "But do you have anything different, a little unusual, anything?" And that's when one of the guys, Earl Gainey, said, "Why don't you do the song that you wrote for William, for Bunches?" we said.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "Man, I can't sing that song. I wrote it just for him, man. I can't even do it." You know, I didn't have the confidence in it. They said, the whole group said, "Well, you wrote it. How come you can't sing it? You can sing it. You taught it to him." I said, "Okay." You know, and that's when it hit me, and I started doing it. I performed it for him. Amazingly, he said, "That's the one." And we were like flabbergasted.
Eddie Folger did.
No, Ernie Young.
Ernie Young, excuse me, right.
Sure. Ernie Young, the recording man, you say, "That is the one." He said, "That's the one. That's the originality that I'm looking for."
Right.
He said, "We're going to do that one. We're going to do that one. And we're going to do those. We're going to do Sweetheart Please Don't Go. We're going to do, it was another one we did. We had a whole session one.
What, golly, William Massey must have had a heck of a time with his mama then.
He did.
Think about that, not having been there to perform. Now, of course, he came back with the band. I mean,
Oh, yeah, he was still in the group.
right,
He
sure.
just couldn't
He
go
just
to
couldn't
Nashville.
be there for that recording.
Right, he just couldn't go to Nashville. But he was still in the group. And we did perform Little Darling. And I did it, I had it sort of different than the way it goes actually today. It was like more of a ballad almost, with the beat like doom 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 like that. The castanets and the rumble thing and the calypso part wasn't even in the song thing.
Right.
So Ernie Young said, "Well, I like that. Can we speed it up a little bit?" So I would speed it up. I would speed it up, slow it down, come between it. And he said, "Can you put a little calypso feel to it?" I said, "What is calypso?" Really? I didn't know what calypso was.
Well,
I didn't know.
16,
You're 16 years
now.
old. What is calypso?
Yeah.
And I said, he said, can you beef it up? Can you chop your lyrics? He said, chop your words. Chop your words like you see, like Mexicans would do. Foreign people would chop their lyrics, speak like that. I said, okay, I can do that. Because we're into Westerns, man. And we saw all that, that's when we got a little darling, a little darling.
Oh, yeah.
A little darling. So when he said, let's change it up and do that, that's when he said, well, let me put the castanets on the beginning, and you got it. So, well, when we did that, and it was, and Mike Basson came in with the beat on the drums. Oh, man, we did it.
Oh,
and the thrill came in with that, and I put the castanets on the intro. I would do that way. The castanets start off, and then I came up with the thrill. And the rest, yeah, 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 all that stuff came right in with it. And, gosh, the rest is history, man. And the oopa, 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 all that stuff came up with all that sitting right there on the keyboards. And it was just amazing how it just flew. It came in to being just like that. Thanks to Ernie Young for the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
May he rest in peace, and God bless. But it was this idea to add those castanets and to chop the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Amazing.
It was, and I just did it, and it came out.
And to be 16, and you just said the words, the rest was history, And the rest was history. But at 16, you had no idea.
I had no idea
that Ernie Young was going to be right, that this was going to work, that Little Darling would be such a superstar and would give you the ability financially and otherwise to get out and later perform incredible songs like Stay and so many others that you're so well known for.
Yes,
golly, the rest was history at age 16. I mean, that's amazing.
And then at that early age also, I mean, God bless Ernie Young. He started teaching me then about publishing, about royalties, about the record business in general, and it started sticking in my head at that age. Then, on every recording session that we would do, we were with them for about three or 4 years, I think it was, but 4 years. It was 4 years. Every session, he would teach me about the business part of it. About the publishing, about the royalties, about, the whole part that most guys, and especially black guys, back then, they didn't do that. They did not teach you about the part that they could steal from you.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, I mean, why did he, why do you think he did that? Why did, because you just used the word steal. I mean, they could have taken advantage of so many performers, black or white.
He didn't. He was a religious man. He believed in the right thing, and this made it just click, fell right into place. Fell right into place. He believed. We talked about Jesus. We talked about churches. And he was also teaching me about the publishing end of it.
Right.
The only thing I can look back and contribute to, God was working. He moved right in there. Instead of a man taking the song and saying, sign on this piece of paper here, and you can make a record. He didn't do that. He started teaching me about that piece of paper. Thank God I learned.
Maurice, and the other guys in the band, I mean, did they perceive you as more or less... now, were y'all still known as the Royal Charms then, or did y'all change your name?
He changed the name.
He changed the name?
Yeah, for the label.
That was to the
Gladiolas. Gladiolas. He was into flowers. He liked flowers, and marigolds and all that. This is a man, he just liked flowers.
Yeah.
He wasn't gay or nothing. But it wasn't. But he just liked flowers, and we went right into it. Changed the name. He said, "What about that?" I said, "Cool."
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you call us. We're gonna perform. We're gonna do this thing.
Right.
And man, gosh, he said, Gladiolas. He said, because I'm changing the name because the fact that it's enough Five Royals, Charms, Otis Williams and the Charms. I hadn't thought about that, I said, you're exactly right. So he changed the name to the Gladiolas. And we said, that's cool, man. And gosh, it went on. And like I said before, the rest is history.
Very definitely.
It hit in there, man. His idea worked. And he started playing Little Darling. He started playing at January. Radio. And gosh, he set me up as a songwriter. He joined BMI, Broadcast Music Incorporated, and he got me established. So
it's amazing as a 16-year-old or 17 or even any of those teenage years that he would have been that dedicated to making sure things worked out well for you in the future.
Yes.
Knowing what royalties are, and that's a special man. Obviously, you think about Ann Inez and your Uncle Coy, but someone like that who were able to kind of take the baton from them and enable you to pass the baton on later in life to someone else. I mean, that's exactly right. Very special.
That's exactly right. The encouragement came from my family, but we didn't know the business part of show business like most guys don't know today. And there's a lot to it.
Oh yeah,
an awful lot. I started learning that at the age, so that's one beautiful blessing that I'm always thankful for.
Very definitely.
To learn these things. Because Greg, the bottom line is, he could have said, well, in order to make this record, sign right here, and you can make the record.
Sure.
He could have been signing the song away. you know.
Oh, yeah.
All my rights away, I could have been signing that, you know.
And to think it was, that's right. And to think the great thing, even though Little Darling's such an incredible performer, to think it was a little more than 3 years later, that one that you're probably as well known for as anything, Stay, to have had some of that, the underpinnings that Ernie had provided, so you could know how to protect yourself with Stay.
Definitely.
And were you all still the Gladiolas then?
No, when we stopped recording with Excello, and when we left the company, he said, well, you know, you can't use the name that I put my signature on.
Right.
We said, okay, you know, you got your name and all that, but everything was still love and peace.
Right.
Because his label was like in the Southeast only.
Right.
We're trying to move on ahead, you know,
yeah,
trying to
sure.
go forward, and he had explained that to us. And leaving the label, instead of using his name, he wanted to keep the name Gladiolas. Yeah, that's his name. It's cool.
Sure,
It's cool
sure.
with us. So we went on, and we came up with the name Zodiacs. And my manager at the time, Harry Glenn, said, why don't we call it Maurice Williams and his Zodiacs? So he writes the songs, he sings the songs, and then you'll be protected about this name thing. You don't have to worry about nobody stealing Maurice Williams and his Zodiac. You know, so this is how we came up with that. And we kept pushing, kept trying. And first we were doing a lot of local stuff in Carolinas on the label out of South Carolina once again.
Right.
We were doing a lot of stuff with it. Label I remember really called Cold Label. We were doing that, and it was Maurice Williams and his Zodiacs, formerly the Gladiolas. So we got a little recognition like that, you know, on that, on doing it like that. But out of that came also, out of Columbia, came Stay.
Absolutely. 43 years as Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs, and 43 years ago, and I love that number, you know, 43 years ago, you performed Stay. When did you write that?
I wrote Stay, gosh, it was about in 57.
So you'd held it kind of for a couple years. That had not been...
It was just in a can.
Wow.
Out of the blessing from Young and everything, I had a tape recorder, and every morning when I would write, I would put all my songs on tape recorder and forget about them. But they would be on that tape, the round tape back then.
Sure.
You know, and they would be there. So I had put it in, you know, just put it away, and it was on tape. And I had the lyrics. I had threw the lyrics in the trash can when I first wrote. I said, I didn't have this too. Ain't nothing gonna happen. There's put lyrics in the trash can. Forgotten that it was already on tapes, you know, because so were a lot of other songs on tapes. So I kept going, and fortunately, the young lady I was dating, her baby sister would listen to the songs, you know, and she said, "How about this song with the high part?" I said, "What are you talking about?" I forgot all about it. And I mean, she's like a kid.
Yeah.
Like 11, you know, 10. Talking about the song with the high part. I said, "Oh, you talking about Stay." So I said, okay. Because another thing I had learned that our young generation buys the records. They know what they like. So I go back home, jump back on the piano, find that tape, put it on, and I found a guy in Charlotte, North Carolina named Henry Gaston. I said, this part would be that man. He could do this high part. I said, this part would be just perfect for him. It'd be completely different. Nobody's got a voice like that. That we know.
Right.
You know. So I called him in. We talked, rehearsed, put it on demo tape. Gosh, he sang it. The high part was the part would make the song different. And this is why we did it right in the middle of the song. I said, well, it's got to be good. It's so awkward. I said, bam. I said, put it in the middle. I came up with the idea. He came up, who would you say? Shane Gaston, Henry Shane Gaston. When he did that, I said, cool. Then the guys in South Carolina Phil Gernhardt, University of South Carolina, again. Phil Gernhardt, John McCullough. They went to New York, took that tape, and were turned down just about every major label. They would. We walked the streets, so they kept going. Finally, one man, Al Silver, Harold Ember Records. So I like it. You know, we didn't know what was going on. We still in school. We still in South Carolina doing our thing, playing the gigs. You know, they come back and say, "The man liked the song." Al Silver. He loves "Stay," but you got to sing it flat. Man, what? What you talking about? Sing it flat. We didn't understand that. You know, we're radically clever.
Right.
We're so used to doing things right on the money, and we think we know something nice as we had, little darling. We thought we knew something, but we didn't. He said, the man wants you to sing it flat. And the reason being, he says that he wants the average man in the street to be able to sing "Stay."
Oh, wow.
And he say, think about it. He said, the average man in the street sings flat. Don't sing on key. Just sing like you sing in the shower. You know? So I said, okay. So what we did, we went in and we did the session. We were hot. Well, you know, we said, we can't sing this thing flat. Man, know what we talking about. I said, guys, let's sing it flat. I said, what I'll do, I say, and being a little angry, I came up with boom, 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 nah. That part is flat.
Right.
That's the flat part on the song. And that's it. We did the rest of it like we wanted to. And he said, gosh, he said, that's it. It's amazing. Cool. So he said, that's what I wanted. He went to work on it.
And the average man on the street can now sing "Stay."
And
I can attest to that. I was singing in the bathroom right before we started up this morning. Absolutely.
Yes. And, he was right.
That was Al Silver.
Al Silver.
Another amazing name out of the past. And to think you were 20 then. I mean, to think some of these big connections in those 4 or 5 years. And William Massey was still with you all?
Yes, he was still with us. And because he didn't sing on "Stay." He was in Air Force then, I'm sorry.
Okay.
He was in Air Force when we did "Stay." And he did some of the album of "Stay." He would come home and then he would sing on the album. Who was recording the "Stay" album. But he wasn't on the actual recording of "Stay."
Are any of the original musicians still with you?
Yes.
Really?
Calvin McKinney. He and I are the only 2 originals that still out there doing it. Yes.
Now, is he a Lancaster one, or was he, is that someone from even back at the...
No, he's from Norfolk, Virginia.
Right. So he is from Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs.
Zodiacs,
yes,
right.
Yes.
He got in the group, I think it was 58, I believe.
Yeah.
That's when I met him. He played saxophone.
Right.
And he's our musical director now.
How exciting. Where's he living? Is he close by?
Yeah, he lives in Charlotte.
Great.
He's in Charlotte.
Good to have both of you all there.
Yes, definitely.
What's touring like? We've just got a couple of minutes, Maurice. What's touring like now? You're really able to pick and choose.
Yes, it's just wonderful. I tell the guys, I say, you know, the group that we have now, I say, these are the gravy days. These are the gravy days. I say, we paid a lot of dues. Calvin and myself. He was there, the Apollo days, all this stuff. We were there. I say, today we sort of pick our jobs that we want to go to. And most of them are great. Like, we love to do the jobs that, the open jobs, the concerts in the summertime.
Right.
You know, that is before, where the whole family can come. Outdoor concerts in the summer. We love that. And then the kids are there dancing and amazing singing "Stay." I say, man, this is so we love that. And that's fun. That's fun work. And you know, it goes on. And they were good.
Were there any moments, Maurice, when you had second thoughts as your career as a musician?
The only time I had second thoughts was when "Little Darling" was a hit. And I don't know why. this in Lancaster, I was in high school, and I had a musical scholarship to go to Allen University in Columbia. And Mr. Goak, he said, I went through all this trouble to get you this scholarship, and you tell me you ain't going because of rock and roll. He said it ain't gonna last. And he was highly disappointed that he had worked hard to get me this scholarship, and I wasn't that smart, no way. Musically I was, but that was, books. He had worked hard to get me this musical scholarship, and he said, rock and roll ain't gonna last, man. He said, you're gonna come back crawling. He said, get out my office. I thought about it. And then I was more determined to make it than ever.
Yeah.
I said, boy, we gotta do it. So I didn't go. And then Mother said, and my sisters and my aunt, they said, well, you can go to school later if you want to, if that's what you really want to do. The scholarship's not going nowhere. You can do that. So we went to Los Angeles on tour, and we never did look back. Thank God for that.
Thank God.
Yes, man, because it could have been different. You know, could have been different, completely different. But that was the only time, Greg, that I was thinking about maybe I'm going to be a school teacher, which is great. I said, maybe I'll be a school teacher. And that's the only time I thought about it.
Thank God he did not make the decision to leave music as a career. It's those amazing words that we heard earlier on, even yesterday, humility and prayer, traveling over the mountain. Think about that, 4 virtually bald tires. It's amazing names like Al Silver and Ernie Young and Mrs. Sample and Ann Inez and Uncle Coy. It's those inspirations in life, for whatever reason or another, that keep him in a position. And Maurice Williams, you've bumped into some amazing folks, thankfully your mother and so many who made that commitment. Thanks so much for being with us back to back. This was truly a treat. We've been with Maurice Williams. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Maurice Williams for making yesterday and today's Carolina People so memorable.